Grief is a monster, but what if it took the shape of a child? What if it can grow, consume, and turn people trying to heal into something far worse? In Danny and Michael Philippous's brutal follow-up to Talk to Me, A24’s latest horror tale doesn't just scare, it festers. This is Bring Her Back, and today we're breaking down its ending, lore, and the emotional scars left behind. Bring Her Back tells the story of Piper, a blind teenage girl, and her older brother Andy, who become wards of a woman named Laura after a tragic event rips through their family. They move into Laura's remote home where another child, the silent and increasingly unsettling Oliver, also lives. But as time passes, Piper and Andy begin to realize that something is deeply wrong. Oliver isn't just traumatized, but is in fact transforming, and the house that they now call home is hiding more than just a painful past. Oliver doesn't talk, he wanders. He eats everything, raw food, couch stuffing, even a butcher knife. His body slowly mutates. Covered in veins, his belly swelling grotesquely like something is growing inside of him. All the while, Piper starts noticing that odd VHS tapes, seemingly innocent home videos, until they show rituals, symbols, and something darker. Meanwhile, Andy, grieving and trying to become Piper's legal guardian, is unraveling. He begins to suspect that Laura, their new caretaker, isn't who she claims to be, or worse, that she's trying to turn Oliver into something unnatural. After spending most of the film gaslighting Piper into thinking that Andy is the dangerous one, Laura's web of lies start to unravel. Andy goes to the CPS office and spots a missing child poster for Connor Bird, a boy who looks exactly like Ollie. The counselor tells him Ollie is Laura's nephew, but Andy knows it's a cover story. Realizing how deep this goes, Andy rushes back to Laura's home with the counselor, but in a brutal twist, Laura runs them both down with her car, killing the counselor instantly and drowning Andy in a shallow puddle. From this point on, Andy is dead, and Piper has no idea. Laura drags Piper back home, calmly preparing her for the final ritual, a ritual to bring her dead daughter Kathy back to life. She needs a vessel, and in her mind, Piper's blindness and purity makes her the perfect candidate. But Piper senses something is off. She hears Andy's voice calling for her, follows it down a hallway, and finds someone pretending to be him. That's when the truth clicks in. Andy is gone, and Laura's lost her mind. The voice that she heard was actually coming from the body of Ollie, or, as we have now discovered, Connor Bird. Piper tries to escape, but Laura knocks her out and hauls her to the rainwater-filled backyard pool, the site of the final ritual. Ollie, now twitching and unstable, joins them, but something's happened to him. He's no longer in control. He's fighting for something inside. In a desperate moment, Piper kicks Ollie in the stomach, and he violently vomits up the soul that has been possessing him. It's not Kathy. It was never Kathy. It was something else. Something that used Laura's grief to get in. As the chaos unfolds, Ollie finds a missing person flyer. He reads the name Connor Bird. He remembers who he really is, and by stepping outside the ritual circle, he breaks the spell, releasing the demonic presence once and for all. Police then arrive and rescue Connor, who is now free. Inside the pool, they find Laura cradling the corpse of her long-dead daughter, completely broken, the illusion shattered. Piper survives, she's placed into the care of strangers, and in the film's final moments, she listens to the voicemail that Andy left her before he died, a message filled with love, regret, and the kind of goodbye he never got to give her in person. It's a real gut punch. The ritual, the pool, and the VHS tape, they all hint at a bigger mythology, but the film never fully explains it. Laura said an angel visited her and gave her the ritual, but what she thought was divine may have in fact been something far darker, an entity that preyed on her grief. The painted circles, the symbols, the vessel, all of it reads like a corrupted resurrection rite, like a cult manual buried in VHS nostalgia. But at its core, this isn't a movie about demons, it's a movie about grief as possession. Laura isn't a villain in the traditional sense, she's a cautionary tale. A mother whose pain consumed her so deeply that she was willing to destroy innocent lives just to feel whole again. Andy dies trying to become Piper's legal guardian, trying to do the right thing in a world that kept taking from him. Piper walks away scarred but alive, and Connor, the boy once known as Ollie, becomes a metaphor of what happens when someone else's grief takes over your life. This is a horror movie about what happens when you can't let go.
How did you cope with Kathy being gone?
I didn't.
The Philippou brothers built Bring Her Back on the shoulders of genre giants. Memoirs of Murder for how it blends awkward humor, tragedy, and dread. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane for its portrait of psychological decay and delusion. And my personal favorite, The Shining, for its use of subtle horror, hidden lore, and emotional claustrophobia. These influences pulse through the film's pacing, tone, and imagery, making it less about shock and more about slow, haunting ruin. Director's statement. According to the brothers, they said, "Oliver is the monster, but he's also grief. That's what we want to show, how pain, when left unchecked, can grow into something unrecognizable. This film was a chance to slow things down, to focus on 3 broken characters in a confined space, and explore what happens when their pain collides." Whether it's horror or any genre, we want our stories to have a strong emotional core. It has to work on multiple levels. We love horror, we're not afraid to call it for what it is, but we also love when horror carries emotional weight when it leaves a bruise after the scare fades. Their words make it clear, this isn't just a genre for genre's sake. This is pain turned into poetry, grief turned into a ghost story. You can tell the Philippous are evolving. Talk to Me was about chasing a high. Bring Her Back is about hitting rock bottom. Same creative DNA, but this one's quieter, more personal, almost mournful. And for a movie that gets really gnarly, really grotesque at times, it still feels intimate. Like you've been trapped in someone else's nightmare, and it's not trying to entertain you, it's trying to bleed something out of you. There's a fascinating parallel between Laura in Bring Her Back and Mia in Talk to Me. One is a mother grieving the loss of her child, while the other is about a daughter grieving the loss of her mother. They come from the opposite ends of the emotional spectrum, but both are completely consumed by their grief. At first, that grief makes them relatable, even sympathetic. You don't see monsters, you see people trying to hold on to what they've lost. But as the story unfolds, their decisions become increasingly misguided, obsessive, and dangerous. Both Laura and Mia cross moral lines. They hurt people around them whether they realize it or not. And for some viewers, that's the breaking point. They lose our empathy. But that's the brilliance of these films. They show how grief doesn't always look evil. Sometimes, it just looks human. There's other parallels between the two films, and that's the use of water. In both films, water seems to be a conduit connecting the living and the dead. In Bring Her Back, the dad dies in the shower, Laura's daughter drowned in the pool, Andy drowns in a puddle, and the final ritual takes place in the pool that is filled with rainwater. Hell, Andy even has a vision of his father telling him to keep Piper out of the rain. Then, when I rewatched Talk to Me, it was the same thing. The demon Mia sees is waterlogged, the rain on the window is moving in reverse, her mom is seen soaking wet as both a demon and in the flashback, Riley hurts himself again in the shower scene, and once you see this, it's hard not to realize that the demons seem to be using water as a vessel or a conduit to travel from their reality into ours. That, or the Philippous, just really seem to like using water in their films. I mean, hell, they even cast Sally Hawkins in the film, who's better known for, you guessed it, The Shape of Water.
Academy Award nominated winner, frickin' Sally Hawkins in our film.
So read into that as you will. But from my perspective, while water in most situations in films is seen as being something used as something that is purified or cleansing, the Philippous have flipped the script and connected it to grief and a connection to a dimension beyond our understanding. So what did you think of Bring Her Back? Was Laura a monster? A mother? Both? And how does this one stack up against Talk to Me? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're into horror breakdowns that dig deeper, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, don't answer that voice calling out to you from the hallway. It may not be who you think.